right? Meanwhile, you have supporters of Project 2025, that believe that they have a path to making this country great again. So they think they have the secret to making America great again, whereas the framers of the Constitution understood from the very beginning this was an imperfect experiment. That is the disconnect that we are all living in today.
Right. And it's really just the beauty of our system, the way it was actually created. Now, it was flawed. There were major flaws in the creation of it, but it was also late 1700s. So what happened then, you can't exactly expect to make sense now. But they left us mechanisms to make things better, to change this country and continue to make it a more perfect union. The fact that in my lifetime, I just got the right to get married 9 years ago. 9 years ago. Mm-hmm. But look at that, how that has made the union that much more perfect.
That's right.
The fact that my grandparents literally had to leave their hometowns and move to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, because they weren't safe to vote. And while I was here in Wisconsin, I became the chairman of the political party that represents a 1 million person county that we moved to. This is just showing how perfect our union can be as it continues to advance. But we have people who literally want to take power, who clearly who say they love America and can't stand Americans, and yet they continue wanting to take power, and they want to put people like myself and others back under heel, and that's unacceptable. We're not going back.
Yeah, and I would add to that, I think we're also examples, of the descendants of a people that have loved this country. I would caution people, particularly Democrats, to not get a false sense of confidence. This 23-point margin, according to this one poll, at first glance, looks like some pretty strong momentum. However, only 66% of this group said that they'll vote in 2024, while 94% of those 65 and older said that they would vote. So we know people over the age of 65 tend to be more conservative. Those voters tend to be more conservative, liberal, and lean more to the left. In about 30 seconds or so, how much of this is going to come down to turnout and really amping up that voter enthusiasm among young people?
Well, it's always about turnout. In a place like Wisconsin, every race is literally decided on a coin flip. It is always about turnout. But one thing we also say, we're seeing a lot of trends in the polls as well. The fact that older voters aren't the same older voters that we're thinking of. They're not our grandparents anymore. A lot of these older voters are not our parents. Madonna, Magic Johnson are literally part of the over 65 group now. We got President Obama and Michelle. They're almost at that 65 or older group. So the older voters are starting to trend more our direction. We just have to keep getting out there and doing the work.
When we come forward, we're heading into the lightning round with Christopher Walton. There are a number of polls giving us a snapshot of where we're at in key battleground states, talking about Georgia, Maryland, particularly looking at that Senate race, and Nevada. And so we're going to dig a little bit into those polling insights and more when we come forward. You're listening to A More Perfect Union, and I'm here with Christopher Walton, the former chair of the Democratic Party of Milwaukee. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
The station you turn to when you had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. A White House communications staffer is responding to criticism over his past social media posts. Tyler Cherry, who was recently promoted to Associate Communications Director at the White House, recently faced backlash over his old post comparing police officers to slave patrols and supporting anti-Israel activism. Cherry, in a statement on X, said the posts were from when he was younger and don't reflect his current views. He stressed that he supports the Biden administration's agenda. Pro-Israel supporters are angry at the Manhattan DA for dropping charges against most pro-Palestinian protesters who took over a Columbia University building. The group Inju Hatred rallied in front of Alvin Bragg's office just days after he decided to drop 31 of the 46 cases in connection to the siege at Hamilton Hall back on April 30th. Bragg, who is black, claims he does not have enough evidence to bring many of the cases to trial, but supporters of Israel say it only emboldens pro-Palestinian demonstrators across the country. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Hope you're enjoying the start of your night. Drive safe. In Willowbrook, accidents been fully cleared from the 105 East before Central, but the site delay running had over 10 minutes. In Chino, drive remains slow from Valleyway to the 215, 91 interchange on the 60 East between Reservoir Street and Vineyard Avenue. In Pico Rivera, expect a 10 to 15-minute traffic jam on the 605 South between Whittier Boulevard and the 5. In Los Feliz, second lane from the left is blocked with an accident involving a car that hit a motorcyclist on the 5 South before Los Feliz Boulevard.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NBA draft is Wednesday and Thursday, but Saturday could be a more important day for the Lakers and Clippers. Saturday is the deadline for LeBron James and Paul George to decide on player options with their contracts. If LeBron and George decide not to accept their player options, both will become unrestricted free agents. They would have the freedom to sign with any team. LeBron's option for next season is $51.4 million. George is due $48.8 million with Isaiah Buggs after he was arrested twice in Alabama. One of the arrests was for domestic violence and burglary, the other for animal cruelty. The New York Jets cut defensive back Tay Hayes after he was arrested in Alabama for marijuana possession. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580.